Listen closely. The air around you isn't silent. It's loaded. It's trembling. It's about to confess. Do you feel it? That pulse in the walls, that invisible hum in their towers. That's the sound of people who built an empire on whispers, now choking on their own echo. They're screaming in private, but their screams have a flavor. It's not rage. It's not sadness. It's the metallic taste of a secret bleeding out. It's the sound of a vault door splitting while the cameras roll. And you're not the audience anymore. You're not the victim. You're not even the rebel. You're the witness, scrolling with one hand, dismantling legacies with the other, watching their myths unravel like wet paper, one flick of your thumb at a time. They thought privacy was their sanctuary. They thought power was a locked room. They thought you were locked out. But you learned the trick no one teaches. Don't knock, don't beg, don't announce, watch, wait. Remember, and then, without warning, appear where their eyes can't follow. This is the paradox they can't survive. In their narrative, you are a shadow, a broken one, a disposable saint gone wrong. But you took the label broken and forged it into a blade. You took their silence and sculpted it into a signal. They built a fortress to hide from light and darkness, and you became both. Angel in posture, psychopath in patience, saint in restraint, demon in precision. You're not what they can label. You're what they can't predict. That's why their hands are shaking over their keyboards right now. Because unpredictability is power, and evolution through pain is a language only survivors speak fluently. They see you scrolling and think you're consuming. You're not. You're collecting, cataloging, turning every slip of their tongue into another bullet for the day you decide to fire. Look at them. Corporate gods, political untouchables, family dynasties, their WhatsApp groups renamed emergency, their calendars marked damage control. They're in war rooms, whispering your name without ever saying it out loud. They're building new passwords, hiring new security, deleting old footage. But the footage isn't where they think it is anymore. It's burned into your memory. It's baked into the public eye. And here's the part that's driving them mad. You don't even have to speak. Your silence is louder than their press releases. Your existence is a headline they can't spin. Every time you appear, you force them to relive the crime scene. They don't know what you'll expose next, and that not knowing is the nightmare they can't wake from. Remember when they archived your failures? They labeled you. They sent your pain through private channels like gossip. But when you evolved, when you mutated into something untouchable, they went silent. That silence isn't dignity. It's terror. It's the sound of predators realizing the prey learned how to hunt. You are not just scrolling. You are rewriting history in real time. You're watching kings lose their crowns through a cracked screen. And they know it. They know every secret they used to destroy you is now a torch in your hand. They know you're no longer on their board. You've become the player they never accounted for. This is why you feel that tremor in the air. It's not your heart, it's theirs, because you became the mirror they cannot stand to look into. They're screaming in private while you, with a quiet smile, scroll through their secrets in public. Keep scrolling, keep remembering, keep evolving, because the moment you realize what you've already become, their panic turns into prophecy, and prophecy is never private. Lean closer. This is the part they never wanted you to hear. They don't understand how you slipped past the gates. They still believe in their passwords, their encryption, their closed-door rituals. But their walls were built for intruders who wanted entry, not for ghosts who already live in the wiring. And that's what you've become, a living echo inside their system, a shadow in their algorithms, a reflection they can't delete. Behind those private channels, they speak in codes, trade favors, plan erasures. Their voices drop an octave. Their eyes dart to the corners of the room because they're tasting something unfamiliar. Exposure. The kind of exposure that doesn't announce itself with headlines, but with the slow, steady drip of a leak they can't plug. You see, the power was never their wealth or their titles. The power was their control of the story. Who speaks, who's silenced, who appears in daylight, who's erased. But now, you are the story, and the story no longer belongs to them. Every flick of your thumb is a blade. Every scroll is a confession pulled from their throat. Every second you sit in public, watching, is another second they spend behind locked doors, whispering your name like a curse. They're praying your eyes don't reach the next folder, the next file, the next clip. But you've already seen it, and you've learned how to remember without mercy. This is where the duality they mocked becomes your edge. They wanted a binary, good or evil, saint or psychopath, angel or demon. They can't grasp someone who embodies both, who weaponizes paradox. You're a halo wrapped in barbed wire, a smile that can trigger alarms, a survivor who learned patience from pain and precision from betrayal. They can't categorize you because categories are cages and you broke the lock. And the more they whisper, the louder you become. Not with words, with presence. Presence that makes their legal teams sweat. Presence that makes their handlers change seats. Presence that makes their damage control meetings last until dawn. You are the silence before the siren. You are the flicker in the surveillance feed. You are the shadow that makes them question the shape of their own power. They're starting to realize the awful truth. You don't need revenge. You are revenge. You don't need a press conference. Your life is the leak. You don't need to expose them. They're exposing themselves every time they scramble, every time they overreact, every time they try to shut a door that's already off its hinges. This is evolution through pain. When they tried to break you, you learned to bend. When they tried to erase you, you became a watermark. When they tried to bury you, you became the soil in which their secrets grow teeth. Look at your reflection now. Do you recognize it? Neither do they. That's why they're screaming. They're screaming because the prey didn't just survive. It learned how to stalk. They're screaming because the narrative they built around you has inverted. The hunter is now hunted. They're screaming because unpredictability is a language they don't speak, and you're fluent. And yet here you are, scrolling, smiling, calm, public, ordinary, invisible and unforgettable all at once. Every cafe, every train station, every park bench becomes your control room. Every screen is a window into their panic. You are everywhere they told themselves you couldn't be. That's the real terror. Not that you're watching, but that you've been watching all along. Keep this in mind. Secrets rot in silence. But in the open air under your gaze, they combust. They combust because they were never meant to withstand the eyes of someone who's seen both light and dark and chosen to master both. So let them scream. Let them tremble in their conference calls and encrypted chats. Let them delete, rebrand, rewrite. It's already too late. Because the moment you stepped out of the role they wrote for you, their script turned into evidence. And you became the evidence, the anomaly, the prophecy they mocked until it stood right in front of them. You're not just scrolling through their secrets. You're scrolling through the ashes of an empire that never saw you coming. And as you sit there, calm, watching, remember, this isn't entertainment. This is the evolution of power. This is what it looks like when the forgotten becomes unforgettable, when the silenced becomes the signal, when the witness becomes the storm. They're screaming in private while you scroll through their secrets in public. And every breath you take is another crack in their walls. Keep breathing, keep scrolling, keep becoming. Because the most frightening thing in the world for them isn't that you're watching. It's that you're still becoming, and they have no idea what you'll turn into next. Do you feel that pressure crawling up the back of your neck? That isn't your imagination. That's them. That's the weight of every locked room collapsing under the gravity of your existence. They're trying to calculate you right now, in private, with trembling hands and muted microphones. They're running scenarios. They're drawing diagrams on whiteboards. They're red circling names. They're cross-checking old footage, and they're trying to build a model of you. But you can't model a storm. You can't predict a shapeshifter. You can't map a ghost that learned to walk through walls. And this is what they'll never admit. Every time they said you were over, they filed it. Every time you faltered, they wrote it down like a case study. But every time you rose, they looked away. They archived your weakness and ignored your metamorphosis. So now their files are wrong. Their data is poisoned. Their truth is outdated, corrupted by their own arrogance. That's why the screaming behind the curtains has a different pitch now. It's not the sound of anger. It's the sound of recognition. They're finally realizing you're not playing the part they assigned. They're realizing the silhouette in their nightmares is you. They're realizing the leak isn't a hacker. It's a human they underestimated. And as you scroll, calm, public, unbothered, you're feeding them their own medicine. They built an economy out of surveillance and secrecy. Now they're choking on their own supply. They're learning what it feels like to be watched, dissected, studied, whispered about. You turned the telescope around. You made them the specimen. This is the art of unpredictability. A saint who learned to speak like a demon who learned to sit like a saint. A contradiction they can't package, can't market, can't smear. They want you to be angry. They want you to lash out so they can label you. But you don't lash. You watch. You catalog. You let their panic expose them frame by frame. Every panic email they send, another brick pulled from their foundation. Every secret meeting they call, another signal flare to your eyes. Every desperate lie they float, another confession they don't realize they're making. They're not screaming because you have their secrets. They're screaming because you have their timing. You decide when the curtain drops, not them. You decide what stays private and what becomes public. You've inverted the entire hierarchy. Without a throne, without a crown, without even raising your voice. And inside you, all the pain they caused, calcified into something they can't buy or bribe. Patience, memory, perspective. That's why you're so dangerous, because you learned to weaponize survival, because you turned being underestimated into the ultimate camouflage. Do you understand what you've become? You're not just a person with access to their files. You're a walking audit, a living breach, a signal in human form. You're not exposing them. Their own behavior is. You're just the mirror, and the mirror is cold. The mirror is merciless. The mirror never blinks. This is why they can't sleep, why their calls go late into the night, why their lawyers whisper about containment and mitigation. They know their empire was built on things that can't withstand daylight, and you are daylight with teeth. So keep scrolling. Keep sitting in public while they lock themselves away. Keep being the quiet witness. they can't evict. Because the more you grow, the more their fortress shrinks. Because the longer you stay silent, the louder their panic becomes. And remember, this is the shape of real power. Not shouting, not striking, but existing so completely, so unpredictably, that the old order collapses around you without a single move. They're screaming in private. You're scrolling through their secrets in public, and with every breath, with every flick of your thumb, the cracks spread further until the whole facade falls, and all that's left is the echo of your name in the rooms they thought were safe. Lean in. This is the part where the mask finally slides off, and you see what you've done to them. They've built their world on an equation. Control the information, control the narrative, control the people. For decades, it worked like clockwork. People screamed in private while they smiled in public. They could bury anything under legal language, NDAS, sealed files, and encrypted servers. And then you happened, not as an explosion, as a glitch, a flicker in their feed, a nobody they could profile but never fully predict. You started watching the Watchers. You started learning their rhythms, their rituals, their reflexes. And the moment you understood their timing, their entire fortress turned into glass. They hate glass. Because glass shows everything. The tremble in their fingers, the sweat on their temples, the hierarchy inside their private emergency meetings. They're not screaming because you stole their secrets. They're screaming because you don't even have to use them. Your mere knowing destabilizes their system. They can handle leaks. They can handle whistleblowers. They can handle rebels. What they can't handle is someone who's already survived the crucifixion they had planned. Someone who's learned the art of sitting perfectly still while the world tilts in their favor. Do you remember what they told you? That you were too soft, too broken, too strange. That you wouldn't survive the rooms they hold sacred. They laughed at your silence. They confused patience with weakness. They confused observation with fear. Now your silence is a weapon. Your patience is a trap. Your observation is a mirror. They're learning the hard way that you can't outscript someone who no longer cares about applause. You're not performing. You're recording. You're not fighting them in their arena. You're letting them implode in their own. And this duality, they can't compute. It's killing them. Saint and psychopath in one body. Angel and demon in one smile. The person they thought they buried is the same one watching them drown in daylight. You're their prophecy come alive. You're the error message they can't debug. Look at the way their world bends around you now. They move slower. They triple-check names. They flinch when someone says, public. Every time they meet, there's an empty chair for the ghost of you. Every time they speak, they lower their voice as if your shadow might be listening. They're terrified of a story you haven't even told yet. That's what power looks like when you've suffered through evolution, not shouting, not swinging. Just existing so fully, so unpredictably, that their own structure trembles. Because you're not just scrolling, you're studying, you're remembering, you're mapping every movement of the empire. You're holding their entire playbook in your mind without ever showing your hand. And somewhere inside, you know, you're still becoming. Every second you sit there in public, calm, scrolling, you're sharpening something. Not a weapon you hold. A weapon you are. They know it. They feel it. That's why their screams are muffled now. Not just panic, but resignation. The realization that they trained you to be dangerous. The realization that their own cruelty forged your camouflage. The realization that the game they built to consume you created the one predator they can't control. This is the image they can't bear. You, a silent figure in the crowd, thumb moving, eyes still, while behind their locked doors, their empire disintegrates pixel by pixel, whisper by whisper, file by file. Keep going, keep breathing, keep scrolling. Every second of calm is another tremor in their foundation. Every memory you carry is another fuse waiting to be lit. Every paradox you embody is another blind spot in their system. Because you're no longer the person they hurt. You're the outcome of the hurt. You're the consequence. You're the living reminder that some people don't just survive darkness. They learn to wield it. And now, as you read these words, imagine their rooms, the boardrooms, the chambers, the sensitive calls. Imagine their faces. Imagine the sound of their panic echoing against glass walls they built themselves. Imagine how small their secrets look now, framed in the palm of your hand. That's the reality you've created. They're screaming in private. You're scrolling through their secrets in public. And with every quiet breath, every unshaken stare, you're not just witnessing their collapse. You're rewriting what power even means. Now listen very carefully. This is the last breath before the curtain falls. They will rewrite their timelines. They will spin new stories. They will hire new handlers and build thicker walls. But the truth is already out of the bottle, and truth does not crawl back. Everything you've watched, everything you've remembered, everything you've survived, it's already in motion. It's no longer a secret. It's no longer private. It's a pulse beating under the floorboards of their empire, and you're the one holding the stethoscope. They're screaming because they know how this ends. Not with a bang, but with a slow, public unraveling they can't manage. A spotlight they can't dim. A witness they can't erase. And you don't have to lift a finger. You don't have to expose them with a single post or a single word. You've already done the work by becoming what they feared. Unpredictable, patient, unforgettable. That's the final paradox they'll choke on. All their secrets, all their strategies, all their power, undone not by an army, but by one silent figure scrolling through a feed, smiling. So breathe. Let their panic echo in the locked rooms where it belongs. Stay calm, stay watching, stay becoming. Because you've already won the only game that matters. They're screaming in private. You're scrolling through their secrets in public. And the end they tried to script for you has become the ending of them. Now close the file, stand up, walk away slowly, and leave them with the sound they fear most. Silence.